Hey, what's up? It's Frank here for DataDriven.tv. And I've noticed an interesting phenomena that I blogged about on my blog, franksworld.com. And it's basically one story has to do with a woman who missed her friend, and she data mined all of their chat logs for, I think, maybe 10 years or something like that. And basically created an AI chatbot that mimicked his behaviors and his responses. And, she shared that with some of her mutual friends that also knew him. And, they said it was very uncanny in terms of how it would respond to them. Then there's another story that is chronicled in Wired, where a man was trying to bring his father, who passed away from cancer earlier this year, and did a number of things to kind of record. He knew he was going to die from cancer, and did a number of things to record his legacy, record his voice, did transcription, and basically created a chatbot from it. And you have to watch the video to kind of get the whole context in both cases, but I think that's very interesting. Could this be a new way to mourn, where we lose the person, but we don't lose access to talking to them? And there's a whole range of philosophical debates with this. And one of them is related to the singularity, where the idea is that instead of simply dying, is that you upload your consciousness into a computer. Now, no one has really defined exactly what consciousness is. Now, obviously, there are philosophies and religions, but no one has really defined what the algorithm for consciousness is. And, one could make an argument. I'm not saying I subscribe to this argument, but as someone who went to a Jesuit university where we were forced to take philosophy and theology classes, this really triggered those parts of my brain. And one of the interesting things is it's kind of the black box approach, where when you really deal with other people, you there's nonverbal cues, but let's assume that we're just dealing with kind of input and output systems. Is that you input, you say what you're saying to the person, something happens, and then they come out with an output. Now that output right now is primarily text-based, and in the video with his father, he made it work as part of a audio response too. Could the chatbots be so good at some point where it's not a Turing test exactly, but you couldn't tell that, not just that it wasn't a person, but it wasn't that person that it's modeled after? That's a very interesting thing. How would you say that the person is not present in that chatbot versus not? Now, obviously, there's one part of us is saying logically, that person cannot live, just basically their soul, their essence, whatever it is you believe in, does not live on in that chatbot. But could the chatbots become so good, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference? It'd be a facsimile of that person. And there are a number of ethical concerns with this, a number of interesting implications for this too. I mean, what if you could bring back historical figures based on their personal writings, based on their public writings? What could you do? There's a Facebook, for example. They have chat logs with, I think one of the things that they could potentially do with this technology is mine all the data from Messenger, and they have all sorts of other information about you, and they could create a virtual you, which at some point then becomes more about fraud. So this touches all of it, man. I mean, this is why I love this field, because it's just crazy. There's obviously the philosophical, theological, and psychological aspects of this, but I mean, there's a lot of more ethical concerns about this. Well, what if you take a chatbot and you base it on someone, and that person misrepresents you? Now's a good time that if you're not getting into data science, kids, get into law, because there's going to be some serious arguments about this. And before I ramble on too long, I just wanted to share that and kind of my raw, random thoughts about this. And who knows? I mean, maybe this will be a good thing. Maybe you'll be able to multitask more efficiently in the future, where you just say, here's a bot, go shop for things you think I would buy, or here, respond to these basic kind of boring, mundane tasks in a way that I would do it. So there's enormous implications here, and I don't think it's hyperbole to say that this is unprecedented in our lifetimes in terms of the amount of change this has the potential of doing in both good and bad. So that's today's data point.